Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and I am here with you this weekend to bring you the next sector rotation video. Last week, if you remember, I sent out that video, and if you don't happen to see the videos, they're on YouTube or they're on DayTradingRadio.com. So definitely subscribe to both of those. But last week, put out the oil rigs. Oil rigs were setting up, and when I talk about this, first of all, talk about the term sector rotation. We hear that a lot on the markets and stuff, and generally it means we're, investment managers and stuff, and Wall Street crowd kind of shifts their money out of one sector into another sector, and that's kind of similar to what I believe in that the term means. But it also means a lot for me for pattern identification and when the pattern's about to break a trend. So I use sector rotation because a lot of people don't, but it's also about the perfect setup. And there's a lot of different stocks in different sectors, so it's really about finding a sector that's setting up all together. I don't want to see one stock in a sector have 52-week highs, another one in a different area. I want that sector to kind of qualify for my sector rotation. It has to be in an organized pattern, but pretty much the majority of the sector stocks will all be that. So that's what the sector move, and the sector is going to move together. So last week looked at rig and Noble Energies and called the oil rigs, the oil platforms, as a sector rotation. And if you follow me on Day Trading Radio, you know that I trade a lot of the downward channels. I have high probability setups where multiple indicators converge, and from those points we take the entries. So it's really there's a lot of discipline that it takes to get into a position, and then with that discipline, it takes the risk out of the trade. So this was actually how rig actually performed good. This was a channel. We had everything pretty much qualifying for that high probability setup. We had that recognizable channel. We had a pullback back down. This is what we call a technical level. I was actually looking for that W pattern playing out. There was either a W or a double bottom here, so we're looking at a technical pattern of that W pattern playing out, and the oversold stochastics, which were key right up here. So the key indicator is the stochastics, and I want those oversold, and I want to see that divergence, and I want to see that downward channel. So that's some of the criteria that I look for when I look for sector rotation, and this worked out great. I think everyone took a nice profit off of this. And another thing great about this style of trading for me is I'm usually in before the analysts are in. In the case here, analysts came out and upgraded the sector. So it's about if it looks good and you feel it's a quality company, most likely analysts out there are going to also see the setup not as fast as maybe someone always doing the research and getting it out to you as fast as I could get it out to you. But this is again, want to look for something that hopefully you're in before the crowd and the crowd pushes it up. So this still continues to look good. Noble NE was the other stock. Again, now you can recognize the same type of channel. And in this case, again, when we talk about the last week's video, kind of showed a lot of the indicators and why I like this. This was a double bottom, but also because it's oversold stochastics, you have to understand you have to give yourself a leeway. So you start a scaling process knowing that under here was a lower trend line. There's always a shot of it, but overall the whole pattern. Remember, you're trading way off the highs. You're trading way off the highs, and a nice pattern that up here is the highs, and then we're way off of it. So anywhere down in this level becomes that entry level, because this channel is going to break to the upside. So even if it breaks down to a double bottom here, still this is coming into an area where this whole area is a high probability setup area. And if you could, manage your scale and process, knowing that, all right, there's a good chance that this is going to break out, but if it doesn't mean the pattern's not going to play out. So it took a couple days, and then it started playing out, and you should break out to the upside on this. So that's Noble. And the sector before that, I think it was a couple weeks before, we talked about another sector, the gas, natural gas sector. And Chesapeake was one of those stocks, and basically the same downward channel line, and then you can see the larger channel here and in the channel inside. So this was really a great setup because you're on the lower trend line right here, yeah, a lot of people are looking at this trend line, which could have been a possible entry, but we actually held up here very well. Stochastics again was the key. We're back in the level where we want to be in, and then that one broke out and continues to move higher. CNX was the other one, and again, this was a whole sector call on the excuse me, this is natural gas, not, excuse me, I'm talking natural gas, but the CXX was the coal stock, and that was another one that we called, so I think it was natural gas, then it was coal, and again, just to take a look at the coal setup, BTU, again, you can recognize the pattern when I called BTU. It was off the lower channel line here. It was oversold stochastics. It was a recognizable pattern. We based off the 1, 2, 3 method, traded 4, 5, 6, and at this point you're looking for that breakout. So, we did get that breakout, and this is that first rotation back. But again, at this point it became a sector rotation, looking for that move up here. So with all those sector rotations in the past that worked out, this week got to work real hard. I'm already here 5 hours looking at all the different sectors and stuff, and I had a few sectors I was going to go after, and I'll probably mention some of these on the 10 for 1,000 watch list. But the sector rotation I'm liking the best, I'm going to share with you right now. I tell you, it was between a few different ones. It was actually between airlines, which airlines I'll talk more about on the 10 for 1,000 watch list. And what else was the other thing we were looking? Oh, aerospace and defense. And I was like, all right, that's setting up too. That's a little bit better than airlines. But again, we'll go over that on a different video too. So watch for that one. So we got like three sectors ready to move, and believe it or not, I really like steel here. Metal, steel, and basically it's a pattern I call the W pattern. Again, I love the W pattern. The W pattern really plays out when you have a downward channel, a break of that, and that first retracement back. And you let the stochastics pull back. That you're not off you're off the recent lows, and this is just a textbook channel breakout. The first pop, first pullback. You usually see this move, and it's a timing issue. Try to get, sometimes you get the stochastics pulling all the way back into an oversold, and you hold it off there, and that's just textbook. Sometimes you get a turn up a little bit early before you get into oversold levels. So, this sector is occupied by a lot of different stocks. U.S. Steel is always a big one on everyone's trading desk, highly followed stock. And AKS Steel is the other stock that sometimes we follow. And again, you can see that the downward channel is intact. It's the first breakout, the first pullback. Again, so these are all acting very similar in their patterns. And AKS Steel is not a bad stock because it really follows its trend lines a lot. So we did have an upward channel, break down to a downward channel, and then we're trying to break out. First pullback. I'm going to look for this continued move up here and kind of work this channel up now, and a workout of this AKS Steel. There's a couple other steel stocks that are, again, all in this kind of a pullback mode. Let me get rid of that, excuse me. Some of them not making the textbook channels that I would love to watch, but you can see that the channel is down. Basically, the low here corresponding with low here, high here, high here, kind of a wedge pattern. But you see that little channel line break, pull back, and we're looking for that breakout of that. Stochastics pulling back pretty good, and that's NUE. Now, this is a harder one, I think, to pick than the because steel has not been in favor. It hasn't been in favor for a while. It's definitely, but the channel here, everything pointing to this, and I guess now we're going to talk about the stock that I like, and it's actually going to be on the 10 for 1,000 watch list for a best bet. Here's one more steel stock, another Brazilian steel company, SID. This is not the one I'm picking for the one of the best bets for this week, but it definitely also getting hit with the steel stocks and really extended to the downside. So this actually looks like a good level down here to watch. Definitely put it on your focus list. Everything's lined up with it, SID. But But my favorite one is the one I can never pronounce right. And I've always traded this one back in the day, 3 or 4 years ago. I remember on the site I used to trade this, and I used to, just kill this one. I probably have a really good record on this, batting over 700 on this stock. And this is one of my favorite stocks to trade. MT, ArcelorMittal. I don't want to go with that. MT, German steel maker. And you could tell by, it's an ADR. It trades over in, I guess, over on the DAX also. But you can tell by the gapping and the type of chart it is. It's, it moves around a lot. But overall, you can see the overall channel, downward channel. The bounced off of this recent channel. Stochastics here, pulling back. And now, argue me this. Each time, my indicator here, my main indicator here, the stochastics, the typical oversold level underneath 20, typical overbought level, a lot of people use as over 80. And what I like to do is really just to do a back testing. I draw that shaded line in here, kind of marks out each point each time we came down to that level. Then I want to pick that up on the chart. I want to pick that up on the price level. So I just go down here and I look at each time we're in that level. All right, and we go out each time. And now you can see at this point we're kind of, this is the real choppy part of the market, and we're not really doing much, but we're hanging on this trend line. All right, and then have the last one now. The important thing is, seeing the relative movements in each one of these indicators. You get down, you get a nice move up. You pull back down here oversold, you get a nice move up. I mean, this is something that you look back at and you say, well, there's no denying this is not. This is a stock that actually follows this indicator more. It does more than it doesn't. Excuse me. And you can see now we're pulling right back into that level. And we're again, what I call a higher probability setup is when that indicator, oversold stochastic, lines up when the stock price is at another indicator's level. So it could be on a moving average or a channel line, and if there's a recognizable pattern. So, of course, this area right here is a high probability setup. On the 200 period moving average is a higher probability setup. In this case, we never got down there, but we still had that reversal candlestick. Here, a lot of chop, a lot of uncertainty in the markets going through May, June. We popped up, we pulled back, we're back in that level. I like the area here a lot. This is my pick going forward. I think we got a good little trade here. I don't think we're going to see anything too drastic to the downside. And I'll be looking to start a position in there this early next week. I don't see us really dropping out here. I'm actually going to go with that turn up here, and we're going to get a nice move back up here and possibly even higher. So this area right now on MT, I would say 32 to 30 level is my level I want to get in. If we did have some kind of fake breakdown, I'd watch that 29.70 area, 29 to 30 area, as and again, a lot of people don't like to add on the breakout, but this is very bullish right now, and everything is set up. I don't think we're going to get down there, but just in case, target to the upside, $34 to $35 short term, which is a nice trade and very nice. And again, you could relate this to US Steel. I feel the sector is going to move together, so if you wanted to take the US Steel trade, it looks good. AKS Steel, which I don't like to trade, but also continues to look good, and some other ones. So that's the call on the sector rotation on steel this week. I also going to put a couple stocks on the 10 for 1,000 watch list. Are going to be on the aerospace and defense level, and again, Lockheed Martin, LMT. You can see the pullback here. Stochastics oversold. Again, each time it got down to this level, we've bounced off the 200 period moving average. But Raytheon, RTN, very nice channel, downward channel, oversold stochastics, kind of flattening out here. Could see a little more weakness. That's why this one's not my favorite sector rotation, but it has the potential because a lot of these stocks are also pulling back. So you could recognize that channel. We're right down this level. We closed above. Nice candlestick. We closed above the downward trend line. And then we'll see if this one actually works out along with some of the other LLL, 3L, And again, you can see 3L, it's a similar situation where we have a nice upward trend line that came back down and oversold stochastics here. So this whole sector also looking for a nice bounce. And yeah, I like these levels. Now, again, I like the steel a little bit better. This would be number 3, and number 2, and I guess number 3rd sector I like is kind of the airlines, but they still look weak, and I'll talk more about those again on the 10-4,000 watch list, which I'm going to get out right now. So I'm DayTraderRockStar. Hope you enjoyed that sector review on steel and aerospace defense. And you can hear me each and every day at DayTradingRadio.com, live on the air, pointing these stocks out as they happen live in the markets each and every day.